Now, that being said, let's talk about this. I know I'm going to talk about. Yeah, I'm going to tell you guys a ghost story, a horror story, something that happened to me back in the day. And it's very, very possible. Okay, we're to talk about something called a capitulation, and I mentioned this in Discord yesterday, but I'm going to tell you guys how incredibly violent and how bad capitulations could be. All right. And I'm not trying to scare you guys, but I want you guys to fully be able to respect the market and what could happen. I'm not going to say it's going to, but could happen, right? And this is my scenario right here for it happening. If we come down here and we don't find any good support over here and we just fall through, we're going to have a good old fashioned capitulation moment, right? And we very well may see this thing drop all the way down here, or hell, maybe even lower. It's possible. Okay. Um, I don't think it's very likely, but these moments when they happen are absolutely insane. So let's talk about one that I had. All right. And this is back in March of 2020. Right over here. It doesn't look like much on the high time frame, right? But this is the capitulation that we saw back then. All right. And this is what it was right here. Okay. It was a monster. It was an absolute monster. So it dropped down right here, a little bit lower. It dropped 51% in the span of one day and 16 hours. So it wasn't the worst one, but this is like the worst one that I was a part of. This is the one that I remember very, very clearly. This is like that things where like whenever you I don't know how old you guys are or anything, but like I know where I was at 9/11, right? Like when 9/11 happened, I know where I was at, right? It was like one of those things to where I always will remember where I was at. When this happened, I remember where I was at. I remember I was in bed, and when it started just absolutely just deteriorating, I was losing my mind. Um, really, really nuts, right? And so these events, these capitulation moments, go well below what anyone thinks is reasonable. Okay. Um, you had all of this support that was established that we just fell right through. All this support, we just fell right through. It wasn't even like it just went right through like butter, right? And it slowly grinded out and then it just accelerated and accelerated and accelerated and just completely crashed through. And Bitcoin got hit hard, but other altcoins got hit hard even more. Some of the altcoins, like no kidding, were basically $0. Like they legitimately were. If you had any bids on the market, you got filled. Okay, absolutely insane. Um, but I remember when I had my capitulation moment on March 12th on 2020. This was whenever COVID came out and everything else was started freaking out, and everyone thought the world was going to end essentially, right? And so it just absolutely collapsed. And remember laying in bed next to my wife, and I didn't tell her what was going on. I was just sitting there, literally shaking, because I lost so much money that day. It was insane, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm overexposed. I'm gonna get divorced. Like I think I'm literally gonna get divorced." And but and this it wasn't even me who said it. It was actually one of a really really good trader right here, Credible Crypto. Where's he at? Credible Crypto. This guy right here. Okay, he posted a tweet, and he was like my big mentor who really taught me how to trade. And he posted a tweet, and what it said was, guys, this is bad, right? But we still have hope. All right. We still have hope because this was absolutely all hope is lost. Look at the massive volume, just completely decimated everyone. And he said, guys, we still have hope. What we need to see is we need to see this breaker hold right here. This breaker needs to hold. Well, we were way down here at $3,800. like no one could imagine it was going to come all the way back up to 5,200, right? We collapsed so far down, but he's like, guys, we have not lost this breaker yet. This is what I want to see hold. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be patient. And I did. I held my, and I held, and I lost thousands upon thousands of dollars, right? And I just sat there. And I was, you know what? Okay. And I sat there in bed and I was freaking out. And you guys can see how much further down it was. And came up here and it just consolidated. And I was very disciplined, very patient, waited. And we got above it. And we closed above it, right? We closed above it right there. When we closed above it, I was like, okay, what's next? And I believe his next target, if I remember correctly, was this monthly breaker. Oops. It's a monthly level. I can't remember what the monthly level was. I think it was here. I think this was his level in the sand. I think this was the next one. I'm pretty sure it was this one. And he said, all right, now the monthly, which only happened a few days later, we need to close above this, I believe. And we got the close. And then he said, okay, now we're good to go, right? But that's the discipline and patience you had to understand. But like one thing you got to fully grasp about these capitulation events is they will literally wipe out everything on the board. It doesn't matter what your leverage position was, you're going to get wiped out, okay? No matter what your stop loss was, you're going to get it wiped, okay? It doesn't matter. You're going to get wiped out. No, I didn't buy anything. I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. I completely lost my mind. I was like, oh my God. A lot like what a lot of people did today, right? I woke up this morning and people are freaking the hell out on Discord. And I'm like, all right, let me look what's going on. I was like, all right, no, that's it. Not too bad, right? But a lot of the same thing was going on, right? Just mass chaos. And like, understand if you were in a long position, you got completely wiped, okay? And then once you went back up, if you went to a short position, it went all the way up to $6,000 in the span of like a few hours, right? So from 3,000 to 6,000. So if you were in a short position, you also got wiped. So essentially what happened is everyone across the board just got completely annihilated. And one thing that's indicative of capitulation events is that a lot of people, a lot of times, you're going to have Twitter, people just saying the whole thing's over, I'm done. You'll have, and this is really morbid, and I know it sucks, but like you got to fully grasp this. Usually when you go to Reddit and you go to the different like subreddits that are going to be like crypto related, people are talking about like all the massive chaos across their lives and how screwed they are and how it's just bad. And then a lot of people will be posting suicide hotline information on Twitter. They'll be posting a lot of that. They'll be talking about how it's just done. Like they're that screwed. And then all of a sudden, this happens, right? And you will increase, and you'll have some big increase where we all know it's over, right? Because this entire moment is terrifying, right? All of this is just terrifying. The drop sucks, right? And then all of this and the retrace and everything else, it sucks, right? And then all of a sudden, you will have this happen where you get a 35% increase, or even more than that off the lows, 40% increase off the low, and that's it. It's done, and everyone knows, and that's it. There we go. Continue back up, right? But this is what capitulations look like, and they're very, very violent. But, and here's the important thing, they're actually very, very healthy for the market. They're very, very healthy for the market because a lot of people will go into some very bad long positions, okay? And when they go into those long positions, you guys understand that long positions are actually bearish, right? Longs are bearish in general, right? Because a long, let me make sure you guys understand this. Longs are bearish pressure on the market. Shorts are bullish pressure on the market, okay? Now, why is that? Where did my deal go? Oh, there it is. Take my magnet off, right? Longs are bearish pressure on the market and shorts are bullish pressure on the market. Why is that? Longs eventually have to sell shorts eventually have to buy. Right? They do. They have to do these things. You have to eventually close your long. When you close your long, what are you doing? You're selling back in the market. And shorts eventually have to buy. So if you have longs who are overexposed and a lot of them, okay, if you have a lot of longs that are open, they're gonna have to sell. And so you want these positions to be gone. So whenever you come through here and all of these liquidations happen, all of these longs are liquidated, right? And what happens is now all of that bearish pressure you had from up here is now gone. And so funding gets reset across the board. All of these longs no longer exist. And now what happens is people now create new longs down here, in which case they're now in profit and keep going back up. And they don't have to sell anytime soon anymore, right? But if you are having longs up here, they're just waiting for an exit to get out. And eventually the market doesn't provide that exit, and it just crashes the whole market and liquidates them all, and they're all screwed, right? So, yeah, these are actually really good. So it resets all the longs. It just wipes out everyone, and then we can start with a fresh new set of group, and then we just keep grinding back up, like you guys see, right? So this is the last thing that happened before the massive increase. So, but for a capitulation, I want you guys to fully grasp how incredibly brutal it is. It's just nuts. I'm actually curious. March 16th, 2020, COVID, Bitcoin, crash, liquidation. Let's see how many people got liquidated, right? Bitcoin loses its value in 2-day plunge. How much money was lost? Let's see. Yeah, XRP lost 40%. Ethereum lost 46%. Just nuts, guys. Like absolutely nuts. God, I wish I can go back in time and show you guys Twitter and stuff. It's just nuts, man. But everyone assumes everything's dead. And this was the time where, oh, here we go. Look at this. $700 million in liquidations on BitMEX. There you go. $700 million of liquidations on BitMEX. This isn't even the big one. This was made before the massive crash. Look, March 12th. Look, March 12th is right here. Oh wait, no, it was the right one, right? But either way, guys, like this is just crazy. So yeah. Do we have a lot of shorts open? No, we don't. We don't. Look, very, very few. Very few. All right. So, yep, liquidations, guys. They're pretty nuts, or not liquidations, capitulation moments. They're really, really nuts. And I want you guys to fully respect it and understand this is absolutely possible. So, when it comes to a liquidation, or when it comes to a capitulation, like you're gonna crash far below your expectations. Like for that one, right? I showed you guys how Bitcoin had a 50% drop. Okay, so let's say that our capitulation moment started here, hypothetically, right? So that means if we're going to match the COVID crash, we started right here, 50%, right around here, okay? You guys imagine Bitcoin going down to somewhere around like $25,000? Like, think about this. Like, can you guys imagine Bitcoin dropping to like $20,000, $25,000 and losing $20,000 in the span of like just a few days? All right. This is essentially what happened in March 12th of 2020. All right. Like that. And you guys can see how my targets right now are right here, right? You guys see this? These are my targets. But technically, during a capitulation event, you are going to go tremendously lower than what your targets were, and you're going to wipe out everything, literally everything. This sweep low gets, these swing lows get taken out, the yearly open gets taken out. You're going to fall back into some absolutely very, very high time frame levels, right? So if we get a massive capitulation, is it possible that we drop all the way down here to 25,000? Yes, I've just showed you guys an example of it doing that, all right? And think about how overexposed you would be in right now if it did happen. That's nuts, right? So if we do drop, these are absolutely numbers that could be hit. I personally think we're going to be stopping at this level, but with capitulations, it usually goes way past anyone's expectations. So, yeah, just make sure you guys are fully aware. Now, here's the thing, though, right? Can you take advantage of these capitulations, right? How would you take advantage of capitulations? First off, how can you save yourself and make sure that you're not exposed to capitulations, right? So the number one thing is make sure that you're not, you don't have too much of your net worth available in the crypto market. Number one, right? Number two, if you are not using leverage, right? If you are using leverage, you can get liquidated, or you will get liquidated. It's not a question of will you, it's you will. If you have leverage exposure in the market during a capitulation event, you will be liquidated. That's it. You will. Okay. As long as if your stop loss are not in place, etc., you will be liquidated. Now, the best way to not get liquidated is to not have leverage positions, because if you don't have a leverage position in the market, like, they can't force you to sell, and you'll be able to go down, ride it all the way down, and then that massive bounce that comes in there, you'll be able to get on that, right? Now, another thing you can do is you can have some bids placed at some incredibly low levels, right? So, like, hypothetically, let's say you go over here and you're like, all right, where are my major levels at? I think there's one over here. Yeah, like right here, right? Could I have a bid set over here at like $23,000? Could it be hit? Technically, yeah, it could. Could a bid be hit way down here at like 18 to 20,000? Yes, it could. So you could, in theory, have bids set this low, and you very well might actually get it hit. It's possible. So, but yeah, I just want you guys to be able to understand and fully appreciate what a capitulation looks like. So if it happens, you guys are able to understand that. So, all right, cool.